Understanding regulatory compliance requirements in federated data governance. In today's data-driven world, organizations need to adhere to various regulatory compliance requirements to ensure the protection and privacy of data. Regulatory compliance refers to the process of obeying laws, regulations, and guidelines set by relevant authorities. In the context of federated data governance, compliance becomes even more critical as data is shared and governed across different entities or organizations. This part of the course provides a detailed understanding of regulatory compliance requirements in federated data governance. Regulatory compliance requirements encompass a wide range of laws, regulations, and standards that organizations must follow to ensure the integrity, confidentiality, and availability of their data. These requirements may come from governmental or industry-specific bodies and can vary depending on the jurisdiction and industry. The European Commission's vision stems from European values and fundamental rights, and the conviction that the human being is and should remain at the center. The Commission is convinced that businesses and the public sector in the EU can be empowered through the use of data to make better decisions. Important initiatives concern the creation of some data spaces, as well as regulatory initiatives such as the Data Governance Act, the Data Act, and the high-value datasets implementing regulation. Common European data spaces bring together relevant data infrastructures and governance frameworks in order to facilitate data pooling and sharing. They a. deploy data sharing tools and services for the pooling, processing, and sharing of data by an open number of organizations, as well as federate energy-efficient and trustworthy cloud capacities and related services. B. include data governance structures compatible with relevant EU legislation, which determine, in a transparent and fair way, the rights concerning access to and processing of the data. C. improve the availability, quality, and interoperability of data, both in domain-specific settings and across sectors. The creation of EU-wide common, interoperable data spaces in strategic sectors will overcome existing legal and technical barriers to data sharing, and as such unleash the enormous potential of data-driven innovation. It will allow data from across the EU to be made available and exchanged in a trustworthy and secure manner. Businesses, public administrations, and individuals in Europe will be in control of the data they generate while knowing that they can trust the way in which it is used to boost innovation. Common European data spaces will therefore enhance the development of new data-driven products and services in the EU, and thereby create the core tissue of an interconnected and competitive European data economy. For further guidance, see the latest EU Commission Staff Working Document 24 on Common European Data Spaces. In federated data governance, where data is shared and governed across multiple organizations, regulatory compliance is crucial to maintain data privacy and security. Compliance ensures that organizations follow the necessary protocols, address data privacy regulations, and mitigate risks associated with data sharing and governance. Key regulatory compliance requirements in federated data governance. A data regulation such as the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, impose strict requirements on how organizations handle, grant access, and protect personal data. These regulations define the rights of individuals, consent requirements, breach notification obligations, and more. B. Security standards and frameworks. Organizations need to adhere to various security standards and frameworks, like ISO 27001, NIST Cybersecurity Framework, or PCI DSS. Depending on their industry and the nature of data being shared, these standards provide guidelines for implementing security measures to prevent unauthorized access, data breaches, and other security incidents. See data retention and destruction policies. Compliance requirements often include data retention and destruction policies to ensure that organizations retain data for only as long as necessary and properly dispose of it when no longer needed. These policies help organizations manage storage costs and reduce the risk of holding on to outdated or unnecessary data. D. Risk management and assessments. Organizations must conduct regular risk assessments to identify potential threats and vulnerabilities in their data governance processes. Compliance requires organizations to implement risk management strategies such as developing incident response plans, conducting security audits, and establishing monitoring mechanisms to ensure data remains secure and in compliance. To ensure regulatory compliance in federated data governance, the following activities are essential. A data classification and governance. Implementing a robust data classification and governance framework helps organizations identify the sensitivity level of data and apply appropriate security controls. Accordingly, this includes categorizing data based on its confidentiality, integrity, and availability requirements, and establishing access controls, encryption mechanisms, and data lifecycle management processes. B. Consent management. In federated data governance, organizations must ensure proper consent management when sharing data across entities. Implementing consent management mechanisms allows individuals to grant or revoke consent for the collection, processing, and sharing of their data. Consent should be obtained and recorded in a transparent and auditable manner. C. Data protection. Impact assessments, DPAS. Conducting DPAS is essential to assess the potential risks associated with data processing activities. DPAS help identify and mitigate privacy and security risks, evaluate the necessity and proportionality of data processing operations, and ensure compliance with regulatory requirements. D. Incident response and breach notification. Organizations must establish incident response plans to address data breaches promptly. This includes notifying affected individuals, regulatory bodies, and any other relevant parties within the timeline specified by applicable regulations. Organizations should regularly test and update their incident response plans to ensure its effectiveness. In conclusion, this part of the course has provided a detailed understanding of regulatory compliance requirements in federated data governance. By considering key compliance requirements and by implementing proactive measures, organizations can enhance data privacy, security, and integrity. Prioritizing regulatory compliance not only ensures legal and ethical operations, but also builds trust with customers and stakeholders.